When the Pixel 10 was released in August last year, nobody really lost their minds. Most reviews called it a steady Eddie, a good daily driver, and honestly, it is probably why a lot of people moved on very quickly. There was no wow factor, no feature that made the tech world stop and pay attention. It just kind of showed up, did its thing, and had a very average rating out of 10. But here's the thing about fine phones. They don't just stay fine. They either grow on you over time, or the cracks start showing up in a way that a 2-week review wouldn't really show. I have been using this phone as my daily driver for almost a year now, and I have a very clear answer on which direction the Pixel 10 went, starting with the camera. I want to start this here because this is where Google played their sneakiest hand. On paper, the Pixel 10 looks like a camera upgrade. You go from 2 cameras on the Pixel 9 to 3 cameras on the Pixel 10. Google then added a telephoto lens for the first time on the base model Pixel, so you're getting a 5x optical zoom, 20x super res zoom, which is pretty good. And that's new territory for a non-pro Pixel. And Google leaned on that hard in their marketing terms. But what they don't put in the headline is what they quietly took away to make room for these new features. Now, the main camera sensor dropped from what's called a 1.31 inch sensor on the Pixel 9 down to a 1/2 inch sensor on the Pixel 10. That's less than half the surface area of what came before it, and sensor size is just physics. A bigger sensor captures more light means better detail and better dynamic range, and you're also getting better low light performance. You can throw all the computational photography you want to a smaller sensor, but at some point, the hardware is the ceiling. Now, the ultra-wide got a hit at the same time. It dropped from a 48 megapixels on the Pixel 9 to 13 megapixels on the Pixel 10. And to put that in context, the Pixel 7 had a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera. Now, I know that megapixels aren't exactly the end-all and be-all, but Google effectively sends the ultra-wide camera back 2 generations while adding a new lens to make the spec sheet look more impressive. In good light, outdoors, bright scenes on a sunny afternoon, you would never really know. The pictures look sharp, the colors pop, and the Tensor's G5 image signal processor does some serious work. But push this phone into a low-light restaurant, a concert venue, or your kid's birthday party indoors around 7 p.m., and that sensor size gap starts to matter in ways no amount of AI processing can fully close. After nearly a year with this phone, the camera feels like a fair weather friend, reliable when the conditions are in your favor, inconsistent when they're not. And that is a real problem when Pixel spent years building its entire identity on being the camera phone that punches above its weight. However, for travel pictures, sporting events, anything where you need to reach 5x optical zoom, it delivers in a way that the base Pixel never could before. It's one of those features I actually use more now than I did at launch, but it doesn't really cancel out what was being left elsewhere. One of the things Google does right is software support. You're getting 7 years of software and security updates. The Tensor G5 paired with 12 gigs of RAM keeps my day-to-day performance very smooth. Apps run very quickly, multitasking holds up, and the whole experience feels considered in a way that only Google's own hardware and software combination can deliver. If you're deep in Google's ecosystem, Gmail, Maps, Photos, and Google Drive, this phone still feels like home. The AI features have also matured, but software is also where some of the trust got chipped away in 2026. Now, January of this year, an update went out that broke the core functionality on a wide range of Pixel 10 units. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth stopped working for a lot of people, cameras went down at the same time. Now, Google acknowledged all this, but the fix took longer than it should have been for something that was fundamental on a phone that you just paid almost $800 for. And I can talk about this one firsthand because it happened to me. My Bluetooth just stopped connecting to my car one morning, and it took until May for Google to actually patch things up. It's kind of crazy. Now, none of these issues individually would tank your phone, but they stack up over time. And when you're 9 or 10 months into owning something you almost paid a lot of money for, you start keeping score very quickly. Now, speaking of knowing when something is actually wrong before it becomes a real problem, that is a good excuse to talk about today's sponsor. This video is brought to you by HeyPolo. If you've got kids, aging parents, or anyone you want to keep tabs on for your peace of mind, this one is worth knowing about. HeyPolo is a privacy-first family safety app from the team behind Surfshark VPN. So the privacy chops are real, and the whole idea is connecting without turning into surveillance. Inside the app, you get live location sharing accuracy within half a meter and automatic alerts the moment someone arrives in school or they leave work. So instead of texting your kid every 20 minutes, you just glance at your phone and you already know. Then we have the emergency side of things. One tap on the SOS button sends an exact GPS location to the family the second something actually goes wrong, like a parent who's falling in the backyard and can't get to a phone to call for help. There's also the speed surveillance for new drivers, so if your teenager who just got their license starts pushing it on the highway, you get an alert right away, so you're having that conversation calmly at dinner and not finding out about it when something already happened. And since we are Android authority, here's the part that matters to us. HeyPolo works the same way on your iPhone and Android, so nobody in a mixed device family is left out of the loop or stuck with a worse version of the app. The part I like most is the control stays with the person being tracked as well. You choose the exact location, general area, or fully private, and you can switch at any time, so it never feels like you're being watched around the clock. One subscription covers the whole family, and everyone you invite joins for free with no group size limit. Get HeyPolo from $1.99 a month at HeyPolo.com. Thanks again to HeyPolo for sponsoring this video. Battery life on the Pixel 10 it's okay. I know that sounds like a non-answer, but it is the most accurate thing that I can say after a while with this phone. The 4,970 mAh of battery is a step up from the Pixel 9's 4,700, and the Tensor G5 is more power efficient than its predecessor under normal workloads. Google promised over 24 hours of battery life at launch, and for my moderate use, scrolling, streaming, some navigation, calls, and a bit of photography, that claim holds up reasonably well. Most days you will make it to bed without needing to charge your phone. That's the baseline, and the Pixel clears it. Where things get a little more complicated is when you push it to its limit. Gaming specifically causes the Tensor G5 to spike in power consumption in a way that is noticeably aggressive. A heavy gaming session can pull the battery down faster than anything that the phone can do. Now, the chip is efficient when it is coasting. When it is working hard, it gets very hungry. There have also been software-triggered battery issues this year. The April 2026 update caused a wave of reports about idle drain that users are losing up to 20 to 30% battery per hour, even while the phone was just sitting on a desk. Now, Google's updates have been inconsistent in how they've treated the battery and their performance. Some months feel like an improvement, other months feel like a bit of regression. After different charge cycles, the battery capacity has held up reasonably well in my experience, which is a positive. But the headroom you had at launch feels a lot tighter now, and the trend only continues in one direction the longer you hold this phone. Now, here is something I want to give the Pixel 10 credit for, and that doesn't always show up in comparisons. Living with this phone is very good. The 120Hz display is smooth and responsive. The haptics are some of the best on Android. You know, those little clicks and vibrations when you're scrolling or you toggle a setting feel considered rather than generic. The ultrasonic fingerprint sensor is noticeably faster than the optical sensor on older Pixels, and it is the kind of upgrade that sounds minor until you unlock your phone 300 times a day and realize you're never waiting for it anymore. The 3000 nits of peak brightness on the display is also useful outdoors. In direct sunlight, the screen stays readable without you having to shade it with your hand. That is a practical win that you feel every single day. The Tensor G5's performance in real life is pretty solid. It's not the fastest chip that you can get at this price range. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 in something like the S26 still pulls ahead in benchmark scores. But for everything most people use their phones for, the Pixel 10 keeps up without any issues. Now, where the Tensor G5 really earns its place is on-device AI features, processing speed for Gemini features, photo editing through Magic Eraser, and Best Take. All of that feels faster and more responsive than the Pixel 9 generation. I think one of the best ways to evaluate a phone after a long time is to look at where it is in relation to what is around it at the same time. And this is where the Pixel 10 story gets very interesting. When it launched, the Pixel 10 was competing with the Galaxy S25 at the same price point of $799. That was already a matchup on camera hardware, with Samsung's main sensor being larger. Now, months later, the competition hasn't really stood still. Phones at similar or lower price points have pushed the bar further and further, and the Pixel 10's hardware decision looks more pronounced in hindsight. Now, the Pixel 9a, which was released at a lower price point, ended up being the more interesting value comparison than the Pixel 10. Now, that's not a sentence I expected to be writing in 2026, so with the Pixel 11 out in 2 months, is this worthy of your money? I don't think so. Sure, the prices have come down significantly since launch, and owning the newest Pixel is an alluring proposition, but I just don't think buying one now makes any sense, especially if your primary reason for buying the Pixel 10 is the camera. Now, the Pixel 9a is worth looking at instead, and not because it has better hardware. It has the same main sensor, the same ultra-wide. It is $300 cheaper for an identical camera hardware. It's kind of crazy. Now, the only thing you're paying extra for on the Pixel 10 is a telephoto lens and a newer chip. That is actually a stronger value trap point than what I had before, since it's not spend less for better, it's spend less for the same thing. And if your budget stretches a little more, then the Pixel 10 Pro solves the sensor size problem entirely. Bigger sensors, better low light performance, all the same software experience. The gap between the base Pixel and the Pro model is more meaningful than ever before because Google has drawn a sharper line between them with this generation than any previous one. Now, the base Pixel is a good phone. It runs great software, it gets consistent updates, and it handles daily life without any issues, and the telephoto lens is a very good addition, but it just has too many pitfalls than the lesser Pixel 9a solves and too many upgrades that the Pixel 10 Pro has. I think Google could have done better, but what do you guys think? Drop a comment down below and tell me what phone you're upgrading from, and if you're still undecided, here's a video on why we keep coming back to the Pixel 10 Pro, and if you want to see 5 things Google needs to fix on the Pixel 11, click right here.